All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be looking at a tool for more of the person working with a student with a disability. In the past, all of the tools we've looked at so far have been for the student. This is going to be for the teacher or the evaluator. We're going to look at a tool called ATEval2Go. If you have questions during this, please feel free to type your questions into the chat box. I can't see them, but Jenny is here and she's viewing them, and she'll relay any questions that you have to me while we're looking at this. So you're going to have to just bear with me as the process. Sometimes this moves a little bit choppy on the screen, but I will do my best to let everything catch up before I go moving along. So we're going to look at ATEval2Go. This is it right here. It is it's an app that really basically just allows you to record info from your evaluation into the iPad. It makes it easier to walk around the room and kind of take notes while you're watching a student. It allows you to embed multimedia, video, images, that kind of thing right into your report. And it basically just makes it so you don't have to jot all this stuff down, go back to your computer later and type it out. It's all right there and allows you to record things fairly easily. It is a little bit on the pricey side for an app. It retails for $39.99, which can be a little bit pricey. But we'll take a look at it and you can kind of decide for yourself what you think about that. So I'm going to open up ATEval2Go. So when you open up ATEval2Go, this is going to be the main screen that you get. If you don't have anything in the in this area here, it's if you haven't done an evaluation yet, all you're going to have is the new assessment button, and the rest of this is going to be blank. You won't get anything in there until you've started putting an assessment in. I'm going to start by going down to where it says Settings here. I'm going to hit the Settings tab and just show you some of the settings. First, we're going to look at Evaluator Information. So you can fill out this evaluator information. You can put your name on this, your certification, any other identifying text, and then you have the option of whether or not you want to turn that on to be put onto all reports. Same with the institution that you're with. You get the option for the institution's name, their address, any identifying text there as well, and that can be automatically added to the reports. Then we can go to the edited banked items. So what we've got here is you've got these banks of items you can choose from when you're putting things into the report. You've got your targeted domains and goals, you've got current accommodations, you've got available technology, and then you've got several different domains in here for accommodation for technology that you might recommend or that the student might already be using. You can see things like reading, communication, vision, composition, math, organizing, learning, studying, computer, rec and daily living, hearing, or other. And then at the bottom there's miscellaneous recommendations and templates. So kind of how this would work, if we go and tap on targeted domains and goals, you'll see there aren't any in there. There's a plus key. If we hit plus, we can add a targeted domain if we want. If we hit next, that takes us to the next option here. And so here's all the things they would have under current accommodations. So they have a bank of things in here already. I'll slide it up just a little. I'm not going to do it too much because it's going to take a while to refresh on your stuff. They've got a lot of things already in there. If you want to add something to this, you would hit the plus key, and I'm sure we'll put access to iPad. I'm sure that probably is in here, but we'll try it anyway. You hit the plus key, you tap inside that screen, you type in what you're going to have as a current accommodation, and then you hit the little save button. It looks like a floppy disk, and that will save and add into your current accommodations list. So if we scroll down now, we should see there it is, access to iPad that we just added into this. So that is there. So that's how you would add things. To delete things, what you would do is you take in that little line of the thing you want to delete, and you'd slide your finger to the right, and it brings up the delete button. You would press the delete button if you wanted to get rid of it, and that would be that. Hitting next jumps us to the next potential thing. So that was the current accommodations. All these other things are similar. They've borrowed. I think they've used. They've had. This has been influenced by the WADI assessment, by the Georgia Project for Assistive Technology, by the Virginia Assistive Technology projects and by the SET framework. So a lot of the stuff you'll see in these domains comes from those areas. If you go into reading, same idea. Here's some of the options within reading. So this is where we can kind of set some of this up before we go in and do the eval. So we have all the potential options that we might want to pull into the evaluation available there. So I'm just going to hit assessment here. And instead of hitting a new assessment, I am going to just edit the one that I created because it already had stuff in there. It'll kind of show you what it looks like filled instead of going through and trying to fill this out and having the screen catch up while I'm writing there. So I'm going to hit edit. And so this is the first page. You get these kind of 5 tabs across the side over here with student and teacher information, the file review and background info, observation and assessment, recommended strategies and tools, and important notes. So here you get, when we, and I'll tap some of these boxes. On evaluation type, if you tap that box, it's going to give you this little drop-down menu where you can either choose student or classroom. You don't get to type anything in there. You choose one of those two. For the student or teacher name, you would just type in the student or teacher's name. For the date of observation, you type that in. Same with time of assessment, date of birth, and ID number. Grade level is another one of those drop-down menus where you can choose several different grades. Case manager, school. Then you scroll down, you have your participants, your type of observation. That is another drop-down menu with initial evaluation, initial consultation, initial evaluation, follow-up or follow-up evaluation. And then you have your additional information or resulting actions area. We then skip over to the file review. We'll let that load up here. And so you would get here a reason for referral, and you could plug in what your reason for referral would be. And then if you choose targeted domains and goals, that gives us access to those things that might that we might have added into our settings area. If we don't have anything in there, which we don't right now, we have nothing in the existing area, we can hit the plus key. We can add something into this by hitting the plus key here and typing in a targeted goal. Just to have something in there, I'm going to type will type 5 sentences without mistakes. Not necessarily a great goal there, but it's just something to have in there. Then we'll hit the save key, and you can see now that's added into our targeted domains and goals. We can keep going through those by hitting next, but I'm just going to bounce out here to show you what we've got here. So current accommodations, if we tap on that, we can again use existing. So if we hit use existing here, it's going to give us all kinds of different accommodations. So if I were to say this student used access maybe to an extra set of textbooks at home, and we'll just go with that for now as our accommodation they currently use. You can tap that, and you can see that's now part of our targeted domains and goals. So then notes on recent progress that we can add, or additional information if we want. So that's kind of our background area. Then when we get to the observation and assessment part, so we hit observations and assessment, here's where we start seeing some influence from the SET framework. We looked at the student, now we look at the environment. So it says what kind of environment, or what might we have as environmental observations. And here we have access to a quiet room is something that we have. And if we look to the right of this, there's a button that says Add Media. With Add Media, this is where we can bring in some pictures. So you see there I chose and I took a picture of my office, so that would be the environment that this student could be in. There's also an option here for recording. So we could tap on this and dictate something into the environmental observations, and that's going to save within our report. Same goes with available present technology. So we have available present technology. We've typed in there standard computer and iPad. If I tap on my add media, you'll see I took a picture of that. If I want to add more, let's say we want to add more. Say we want to add joystick mouse. The student has a joystick mouse too. We'll type in joystick mouse, then I'll hit add media, and I'm going to hit the camera button here, and it's going to say take video, or choose from library, or take picture. I'll tap choose the take picture option. There is my joystick. Snap a picture, hit use, and that gets added into my assessment. Then I can also, as you saw there, I could also add video. If I want to delete one of these pictures, I just tap and hold, and I can delete from there by hitting one of the X's. So that gives me my pictures. Then I have the ability of the student, the performance related to goals. I can type something in. With the add media, I can actually take video of the student using something as they are going about doing this. So that is the observation and assessment part there. We then skip to the next part, the recommended strategies and tools. Here is where we'll see that we've got several different options in different areas. So if we have a student that has dyslexia, the issue is reading or writing, we can forget about communication, vision, all that stuff. We hit reading, and it'll show us what we can what we've already chosen as potential solutions here, or what we can choose by hitting add. I think I choose audiobook. I already chose audiobooks, highlighting, increased text size, interactive books, readability stats, text-to-speech. You can hit use existing, and you can find several other things within reading that you could choose. Or if you hit the add button, you can add your own to that. And then again, you have pictures. You can take pictures of something. You can add that audio component as well. They also have miscellaneous recommendations and resources, templates, and tutorials. If we tap on that, we hit use existing, we'll see there's nothing in there right now. That's an area for you to add something that you might think is important. Then the last option there is the important notes piece. You can add an important note to this, and from there you have a report. So now what happens with the report, here we can hit preview report, and it's going to show us what this report is going to look like. It's going to take a second to generate it, but it's going to take all that information that we added, and it's going to run right through here. We've got the evaluator name, the institution name, we've got our student information. If we scroll up, we can go to our, scroll down, we can go to our file review. There's our goals. Here's our environment. Here's our observations of the environment. We've got our picture. We keep scrolling. There's our desktop computer. There's our joystick. There's everything kind of set up for how we want to be able to use this, or what the student already has. Then if we go up to our recommendations for strategies and tools, there's what we pulled out of the reading and the composition area, and there's our important notes as well. Now, from this preview field, we can't do anything else with this report. We can just take a look at it and then maybe go back in and edit if we wanted to. To be able to do something with this, to get it off the iPad and be able to do something, if we hit back, we will see here now with our evaluee, we can edit the report, view the report, review the audio that we may have recorded, or delete it. And within view the report, if we pull it up this way, and we'll get the exact same thing that we saw before, but now if you look at the top, we have the option to open it in another app within the iPad, or we have the option to share it via email, printing it, or exporting it to iTunes. I would tell you, I haven't tried this, but if you open it in something else that you can connect to Dropbox, maybe open it in PDF, annotate PDF, or open it in Cloud On, or any of these other things, we could then, from that app, put it in a Dropbox and just open it on another computer without having to send it back and forth. So that's kind of the big thing about that's the big thing with ATEval2Go. You know, the nice thing about this is we can do this report on the run on the iPad, have that right there. We have all the tools built in to get visuals included into this. The downside to it is it is a little expensive. It's $40. That's a pretty expensive tool for doing something like this. And it's pretty basic. It gives us the area to plug stuff in, to plug in our observations, to edit what they have in there. But again, it is fairly expensive. That's a quick overview. Does anybody have any questions about that? Next week, We are going to be out of town for ATIA. We're leaving on Tuesday. I haven't decided yet if we're going to do a live webinar or a recorded webinar, but either way, we will have something up at 3 o'clock next Tuesday, and we're going to be looking at a resource called Site. It's a very quick one, but we'll take a look at that, and we'll try and see if we can get those fixes on the IEP checklist taken care of, and take a look at that as well next week if we can, if we get a chance to do that. So there's no questions. I will let you go, and I appreciate you sitting in on this today.